morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live. Yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Wow, y'all. Listen. I had the greatest honor to represent my organization last night at the Emily's List Gala. And baby, were the political stars out and popping. Whew. I mean, I met United States senators. I met, everybody. But my favorite was my Tennessee House member, Mr. Justin. He's so dope. The Tennessee Three, he was so cool and so gracious and just a regular fella, right? But I got to hear my vice president again, because that's kind of like the third time I've had a chance to be in the same space with my vice president. And this was probably the closest I ever got to her. I was in the third row of tables this go round, right? But listen, Emily's List, the gala was one thing, but we also went to a workshop earlier in the day and we talked about messaging. And this particular messaging was about how do we as Democrats talk about abortion and talk about abortion access and reproductive health care. First things first, people, the numbers do not lie. Talking about abortion moves the needle. It doesn't matter if it's rural America, urban America, suburban America, Republicans or Democrats. They polled Democrats. They showed us the data that says if you talk about losing rights and abortion access, you have an opportunity, right, to win over some voters. So there was a lot of good stuff that we took out of the day. And then, of course, going to the gala and, y'all know I'm a elected official groupie. Y'all know how I get down. Y'all know how I am. So just getting to hang out and use that fabulous energy. Plus my CEO was there. She was surrounded by all the great people. And it was just so cool. And I had my fellow colleagues and we kicked it. And then I remembered I was 53 and it was time for me to go to bed at around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I was tired because I kind of flew in and flew out, right? Because I wanted to make sure I got back tonight so that I could do my post-primary show and interview my guests tonight. So I made sure that I got back in time. But if I don't know, I feel like I am really fortunate and really blessed to actually get paid to do what I'm passionate about, which is what I do at Act Blue, and that's helping elect Democrats. But these are like the perks. I mean, we could always use more money, right? But the perks of getting to go to these conferences and getting to go to these events and rubbing elbows and learning strategy at the same time on how we can be better. Guys, Indiana's Own is going to always be bringing that good stuff to you. So it's up to you to apply it, though. It's up to you to put it to use. I'm giving you the information. I wanted to go over the election results from Tuesday night, but there was one article that I did read today that I want you guys to read or to hear about. The Indiana Public Media reports educators from across Indiana spoke out against a new literacy endorsement and revised graduation requirements at the State Board of Education meeting on Wednesday. They said training for the endorsement is confusing and burdensome, and they expressed concern that the new graduation requirements won't help students become well-rounded. The Indiana Department of Education must revise the state's graduation requirements by December this year. Its current proposal loosens requirements for some subjects like history and social studies and emphasizes internships and work-based learnings. Educators who teach subjects including economics, music, and foreign languages said those areas should be included in the new requirements because schools could cut them if students are not required to take those courses. It's my understanding that world history and economics will no longer be required classes for high school graduation, said Kevin Godgel, a history teacher at Homestead High School. I cannot believe in 2024 America, with all that's going on in the world, we're discussing ending world history as a graduation requirement. It's mind-boggling. I acknowledge that one of the goals of our educational system should be to prepare students for the workforce, he said, but he also said it shouldn't be the only thing we prepare them for. Another new law requiring educators who work with kids in pre-K to sixth grade or special education to have a new literacy endorsement in the coming years. But some teachers said they do not teach reading and will not use it. Jessica Hurley, a teacher at Boonville Middle School, said, instead I have to take a literacy teacher spot as I am signed up for a training in literacy, something I have no interest in teaching, have never taught, and will never teach. Others said the training is problematic because it's unpaid and takes 80 hours outside of school to complete. Multiple educators said that the courses would interfere with their second jobs or spending time with their families. Y'all, first of all, no, we should not drop world history. No, we should not drop economics. What is wrong with you people? Like, are you literally just wanting to have worker bees in Indiana? Is that all we're educating our young folks for, is just to be worker bees and to put peg A into peg B? What the heck is going on? And hello, I'm sorry, 80-hour out of class time learning for teachers are going to take away from their second jobs. See, that's a problem in and of itself, right? Why do our teachers get paid so little that they have to have a second job? Make that make sense. I'm struggling with this, y'all. Struggling with the fact that our teachers are still so undervalued in Indiana. And you know what? And it's not just like y'all be want to talk about rural areas or urban areas. Carmel Clay schools are short of teachers. They're short of teachers as well. One more piece in this. Educators also said they are worried about disparities in the new system because students in small rural schools and underserved communities might not have a wide variety of internships and work-based opportunities available to them. However, I think our educational system also needs to prepare our students to be well-rounded citizens and not just a workforce. Guys, you see what they're doing? You see what they're doing? I'm bringing this story up, and I'm hoping it kind of gets under your dander and gets you worked up a little bit, because let's talk about the people who could be leading our state next year. Well, we see Trump, Indiana showed up yesterday or Tuesday night, and Mike Braun, but he only won with 39% of the vote, of Republican vote. That's still problematic. I wasn't hoping nothing, because all of them are trash. They were all garbage and they were all trash. And for all you Democrats that voted Republican, good on you. I didn't like the idea. Not a fan of the idea, but good on you. You did what you felt like you needed to do. But we had contested Democratic races. Congratulations to Valerie McRae, who won the United States Senate primary. Mark Carmichael was a buddy of mine, and I'm sorry he didn't make it through. You guys both ran a great campaign. I love the civility that you both showed in running this primary. So I guess Dr. Valerie McRae is it. Get behind her, do what you do. And, because honestly, that other clown, what's the guy that's running? Who got it? Jim Banks. I have to look him up. I try not to remember him. I try not to keep his name in my mind for too long. But this guy's a clown. He's another Trumper. He's another Trumper who doesn't believe in women's rights and right to control your own body. Mike Braun doesn't either. Like, he's a Trump light. He's not even a good strong man. He's just garbage. I mean, these people are just flat freaking garbage. But this is what we got, right? So show up. I hope you guys are finding a way to help Jennifer McCormick. I saw a tweet earlier today, and hopefully we can have brains over brawn. I like that tweet, brains over brawn. I'm taking Jennifer McCormick. I think she has everything it takes to lead our state in the right direction. Some other contested races. Let's look at, because there were mostly contested races on the right. In District 1, it looks like Frank Mervan will be fighting it out against Randy Niemeyer. I don't know who he is. I'm almost a little scared. Don't know who he is. Okay, in the 3rd district, the 2nd district, Randy Yelcom, uncontested. And then in the 3rd district, Marlon Stutzman won, and he won with 22% of the vote. Listen, these races, I mean, Wendy Davis was in that race, Andy Zay was in that race. They didn't like y'all. And I'm kind of glad y'all didn't vote for Andy Zay. I don't like him. Never have. And then in District 3, incumbent Jim Beard had a contested primary, but he pulled it out. Victoria Sparks also had a contested primary. There were like 100 people running in District 5. I don't know why, but she pulled it out with 39.1% of the vote. Jefferson Shreve was able to purchase that primary. He was running against Mike Speedy. Go back to the State House, Mike Speedy. You're not going to Washington. You're garbage too. Jeff Ratz is garbage too. But, you know, Jefferson Shreve, he could probably win this seat because, well, you know, he tried to buy Indianapolis, didn't work, but he bought this congressional seat. That's what happens when you sell your business for millions of dollars. You can go buy elected offices. In District 7, I just learned this. My guest gave me this information. Jennifer Pace won the primary, but she passed away in March. Not sure how that happened, but okay, she was already on the ballot. So they ran it, but she got more votes than everybody else. Kat Ping, who is a perpetual continual runner, is lost again. And then in the 8th district, I think that was the open primary. There was what is this? 7 people running for the 8th district, and Mark Messmer on the Republican side run that race with 38% of the vote. And then in the 9th district, Erin won her reelection. So she will be there. Let's look at the Democrat side, if I could, just to get an idea of some of those contested races on the D side, because you should know who's running for Congress. Again, I already mentioned Valerie McRae won the Democratic primary for United States Senate. Mervan was uncontested. Lori Camp in the 2nd district was also uncontested. But in the 3rd district, boy, that was a contested race. You had Kylie Adolph. So those of you in the 3rd district, Kylie Adolph is the person that you will want to support. And I want you guys to get behind them and help her win that race. She beat Phil Goss. And Phil Goss was like one of the first people that got in the race. I was excited when I learned about him this time last year. But he didn't get her done. Kylie got her done. This one kind of, I ain't gonna lie. This one, I didn't know how it was going to go. In the 4th district between Derek Holder and Rippy Gurn. I love Rippy Gurn. I got a chance to meet Derek last week. He was on the show. Derek pulled that race out with a 63-36 victory. So he'll be running in the 4th district. In the 5th, shocker, surprise. I think this is an upset. I don't care what anybody says. This is an upset. Deborah Pinkett beating Ryan Finnegan is an upset. She pulled it out. I had a chance to talk to her a couple times, and I'm so grateful because, you know, I work with her at, everybody that's on the platform, I work with you at Ag Blue, but she took advantage of what I can do, and it looks like she pulled it out. So congratulations to her. And Cindy Worth obviously ran unopposed. Congressman Carson had a primary race, but not really. It was a 3-way race, and he still won with 91% of the vote. My congressman is going back to Washington. And in the 8th district, Eric Hurt pulled that one out with 45% of the vote, and it was a 4-way race. So he almost pulled off 50% of the vote. That means he was doing something right down there in the 8th district. And in the 9th, again, no surprise there, Tim Peck won that race. He will be taking on the Republican 9th district challenger. I did want to talk about one race up in District 3, Reagan Hatcher. She pulled it out. She pulled it out in House District 3. She won by 56% of the vote. Congratulations to her. There weren't a lot of House district races that were contested. There's another one. John Bartlett in John Bartlett in District 33 beat Jim Phillips. And the John Bartlett in District 95 went on ahead and bested my girl Autumn, who was a Hoosierman forward. Good job in running a great race, Autumn. Congratulations, John Bartlett. We talked. We did a special show. He said he has work to do. So, guys, obviously, he should be a lock to get back in. But in District 66, it was a good race between Jennifer David and Rick Cannon. Jennifer David pulled that race out. And who else we got? District 88. You know I got a love for District 88. That's the district that I ran in, but it's been redrawn. It ain't the same place no more. I wouldn't be in District 88 no more. But Stephanie Jo Yoakum beat out Star Joy Hairston. I love it. Listen, can I just say the legacy? You know, I know people always want to know when I'm going to run again, but can I tell you just how excited I am that every race, every cycle, there's been another woman that has run in District 88 since I ran that district. Love it. Ladies, keep showing up, keep challenging that seat. But there are a lot of good races out there. Justin Moed held off Sarah Scheidel, not held off, 76-23. But congratulations, Sarah, brand new candidate, taking on an incumbent. She just felt like there was a need for her to run as a openly trans person, and she ran. So I really do appreciate you guys running and getting your names on the ballot. There was one contested Senate race, couple Senate races that were contested. Mike Spencer beat out David Van Zant. For District 3, he won with 65% of the vote. Dave Needs-Gotsky won his primary, had a challenger in Tim Swagger. Tim Swagger was everywhere. So you did a good job, Tim. Just not your time yet. Apparently, the voters weren't ready for you yet. But those are the only two state Senate contested races. And apparently there was a shakeup in Monroe County. Oh, my goodness. In Monroe County, there was a shakeup. The commissioner race was something to behold. There were a lot of folks that were in that race, but an incumbent did not win her reelection. Penny Githens, a dear buddy of mine, she unfortunately did not hold on to her seat. Jody Madera beat her in that primary race, and Julie Thomas beat my last week's guest, Peter Iverson, who was a county councilman, so he'll serve out as county council. And then, of course, Trent Deckard, Dimples, held on to the at-large seat along with Cheryl Munson, and David Henry will be on the ballot for the 3 at-large seats. He is also the Monroe County chair. So, guys, again, there are a lot of elections. I mean, you guys can find this information out wherever you like, but congratulations to everybody that put their names on the ballot and ran fantastic campaigns. Turnout was woeful, people. We have got to show up at the polls. Nothing's going to change if you stay home. Nothing's going to get fixed if you stay home. Think about those teachers who now have to give up 80 hours of their time from their second job, no less. If you don't get out and vote and make some changes, you guys got to help us, man. You got to get to the polls. This stuff ain't going to change itself. All right. Now, that's my rant. That's not really a rant. Just wanted to kind of give you guys a rundown. I was really excited about the elections. I'm always excited about Election Day. That's my Christmas. But in the meantime, let's hear from my sponsor, Bohm's Unique Boutique. Today's show is brought to you by Bohm's Unique Boutique. Click on the QR code. And for all Turn Left listeners, you can get a 10% discount on your order by using the code Democrat. Be sure to visit www.bohmsuniqueboutique.com. Democrats, are you looking for an affordable digital content creation solution? Then look no further than Black Pearl IT Solutions and Black Pearl Studios. Indiana's own Dana Black is providing many of the communication wraparound services any Democratic organization needs. No matter the size of the budget, Indiana's own and Black Pearl Studios have you covered. Just scan the QR code or visit www.blackpearl-its.com. All right. Yo, the best part of the conversation is about to happen right now. I get to bring my guests on. You know, I love doing these interviews. Before I even get started, because I always forget, guys, this is a fundraiser for these candidates. So please, if you have a few dollars, if you have $5, donate. There's a link there to donate. And all the money that we raise will go to these candidates. Now it's the general election time. This is where we stack our chips, right? So that we can hit it hard after Labor Day. So please consider donating to our candidates. First up, running in Tippecanoe County, County Council at Large, Amanda Eldridge. Amanda, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on, Dan. I'm super excited to be here and just to chat for at least an hour.
At least, at minimum. And running as Clark County Commissioner, Katie Morgan. Katie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dana. Thank you for having me.
I love it. Hey, first up, congratulations, Amanda. You know, we booked you today, but you still had a race to run.
Yes, I did. I didn't know how that was going to turn out with the race and then being on.
But you made it happen. It was she was running at large. It was three people could win, but there were 5 people on the ballot, and she pulled it out. So that means you did an excellent job running and get that name recognition. So congratulations on winning your election.
You.
Hey guys, was there anything that I talked about in my rant that you wanted to comment on? Ooh, I see Katie, your eyes. Ooh, come on, girl. You know what
I'm like, there's almost too much to go on.
Come on, come with it, sis.
I agree, Katie.
I don't have the right words right now. Give me a minute.
Okay, well, Amanda, you got something?
It's so frustrating to hear about this whole situation with the education and knowing that they were trying to loosen restrictions on children's working in factories and on the farms and things. I mean, this is just nuts. We're going back hundreds of years of progress. Why are we doing this?
Because we don't have enough worker bees.
Apparently. Like I said I didn't have words, but I talk anyway.
I got you. Amanda, anything for you?
Oh, too many things to say. I mean, I agree with Katie. I watched the session where they were rolling back labor laws here in Indiana. The justification I continuously heard was we need to meet federal standards. But the one thing I never got an answer on is we're rolling back child labor laws, saying kids can drop out of 8th grade, go work full-time jobs, but they're mature enough to do that, but they're not mature enough to pick up what books they want to read.
What?
Right.
Exactly. Make that make sense.
I've asked and I can't get an answer.
Yeah, well, they're not giving one because this is all calculated, right? Yep. They need workers. They need people to, and listen, all work is valuable work, and I'm not trying to demean or diminish what anyone does in the workspace, but don't you know you limit your earning potential if you don't finish high school?
Well, I think there's more to it than that as well. I mean, it's kind of the dumbing down of America. If you're not, intelligent enough because you haven't been taught world history, it's easy to be a Holocaust denier because you don't learn about it. They're doing things like this systematically on purpose because if you're too busy to get out there and get a better job, have better economic standing, then you are too busy and too focused on keeping the job at hand, and you can't pay attention to what they're doing around you.
Absolutely. I love that. See, you had the words. I wasn't even worried about it. You had the words. All right. So, Amanda, tell people who you are and where you come from.
So my name is Amanda Eldridge. I was actually born in Lafayette back in the day. I grew up northern Indiana, Warsaw. Went to IU, which I know is very dangerous to admit in this area.
Well, oh, yeah.
With Purdue. Yeah. So I always get ahead of that. I went to IU, but I also went to Boston University. So I think it's just a red and white thing for me.
Okay.
But no, moved back to the area 2019 as a case manager at Community Corrections here in Tippecanoe County. Bought a house. I live in the battleground area. So part of my campaign and platform has been, let's give the small towns a seat at the table because this county is expanding. Yeah, and a little bit about me. I admitted I went to IU. I'm a diehard Bears fan to the point I was almost named Otis Wilson Eldridge.
What?
That is how diehard my family is.
That's okay. I'm gonna let you slide.
We're also diehard Cubs fans, so we're used to pain.
So it sounds, yeah, y'all are. But I mean, it sounds like multi-generational, so we're gonna let you slide.
I mean, my family's from Rensselaer, and that's where the Bears used to have their training camp until it moved to Bourbonnais.
Okay, I can dig it. And then the Colts didn't show up to 84 anyway, so I was a pseudo Bear Cincinnati fan until then. So I get it. So
well, at least the Bears didn't sneak out like the Colts did from Baltimore back in the day.
You can't sneak out in bright yellow and green Mayflower trucks.
No, not at all.
They did kind of slink out in the middle of the night. They was like, we out of here. So tell me, what was it like growing up for you? Were you always civically minded and civically engaged and wanted to be involved in politics?
I actually was. I remember being in the 6th grade and debating with a classmate of mine whether women deserved equal pay.
What?
He said no.
You won that debate, I assume?
The teacher kind of stopped it because I was getting a little heated.
Oh, because he was using misogynistic rhetoric, huh?
No, he just said women don't deserve it because they're women.
That's not even an answer.
It's not, but it is what it is. But no, since I was a kid, I've always tried to pay attention. I always wanted to learn. I was an avid reader. You know, my parents, I think, are both happy, but also kind of regret buying an encyclopedia set so I could read about whatever I wanted.
You could explore the world. I love it. I love it. Yes. And so after you go to college, you come back, you saw that there were things happening in your city that made you want to get involved?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different things. I will say the thing that finally tipped the scale was when I had heard at the State House, they were talking about trying to take away or reduce funding for public libraries to put that on city councils and municipalities and county councils. And I'm like, no, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. But I had seen things in Tippecanoe County with the development, of course, the LEAP project. No one here across the political spectrum is happy about that project. I'm not sure. Do you know what the LEAP project is, Dana?
Tell us about it.
So the LEAP project, the IEDC, they put a chips manufacturer company in Lebanon, or they're trying to build it. But the thing is, there's not enough water there.
Oh, I didn't know the name of the project. I knew that there was a water issue going on there. Yeah.
So the IEDC's big idea was they were going to pipe from an aquifer here in Tippecanoe County and pump that water to Lebanon for this and take, I think it was 100 million gallons a day. They've already done some test runs. It's not gone well. I encourage every Hoosier to look into this. They've actually expanded the study that was initially for 13 counties to all 28 counties that connect to that aquifer. And something else that most Hoosiers probably don't know is we actually don't have any water protection rights. There's technically nothing that would stop someone from pumping water to Illinois.
What?
Technically, so I know that they tried to bring something up last legislative session. I think it was Senator Deary and Representative Nagel, and it completely died.
Wow.
But we can hunt bobcats and have throwing stars.
Yes. The throwing star was the one that I thought was great. And wasn't it like the dragonfly, something? The state insect? Because those things are important.
Yeah. But it's, it's such a big issue in this area. We're very concerned about the water. It's like, how's this going to affect water levels here? What I was hearing was that wells were being drained within a 2-mile radius. There was enough sediment that got in that wells now smell like sulfur. It's a big issue.
Wow. And to think that the leaders believe that it is better to provide water to a manufacturer than to actual humans who cannot survive without it.
Yeah. I think part of the anger is that this really wasn't discussed with the community. Here's this big decision and we weren't consulted. The community wasn't asked, how do we feel about this? How do we feel about all this water being pumped? And we don't even know how it's going to impact areas.
This is crazy. We got it. Y'all, we need new leadership. Katie, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Okay. So I'll try to keep it brief because I tend to talk a lot.
Talk a lot. That's what it's a whole talking podcast.
Okay. So I've been a bit of a river jumper my whole life, actually. I was born in Louisville. Then we moved to Ohio for a little while, moved to Floyd Knobs, Indiana, moved back to Louisville. That's where I met my husband, Brian. He's now retired out of the Air Force. We got stationed in Oklahoma for 5 years, and then that's when he retired, and we moved back here to Indiana. We moved to Borden at first, spent 7 years there, and now we're in Clarksville, and have been here for about roughly 2.5 years at this point. Let's see, a little bit about me. I started my career actually as an environmental scientist because in Oklahoma, there were a lot of job opportunities for that. And my kids were finally getting a little bit older and more independent, so I was going to be able to go out and join the workforce. But once I moved to Indiana, I realized there weren't a lot of opportunities for an environmental scientist around here.
No, because they don't like science and environment at the State House. Those two things together
Well,
just ain't gonna work.
well, you would think that in Oklahoma as well, actually. But truth is, the only jobs I was able to get out there, and I usually wouldn't take them, were ones that they wanted me to say that fracking was fine.
Wait, you weren't supposed to use the evidence? You would just do what you're told?
Yes. You were supposed to just rubber stamp it and say, oh, no, there's nothing, not a problem with fracking. I think it's all good.
Ugh, Lord
So,
have mercy.
yeah, I wouldn't take those jobs either. So I got here and there weren't even those. So I pivoted and became a software engineer, did that for a few years. And then just kind of a strange set of circumstances occurred. My husband was a paralegal for an elder law attorney. She approached me and said, hey, I've got this unique case. This lady is in need of a guardian and her family just can't do it. I'm pretty sure my response was something to the effect of like, what the hell is a guardian? And why do you think I would do that for a perfect stranger? But she explained that it's a lot about advocacy and protection. And she said, I've seen you advocate for your 3 special needs kids over the years. So I know that you're tough, you're a fighter, and you will make sure that this lady is protected. So I decided to take her up on it. I tried that. And within 6 months, I actually had 4 clients in the guardianship field.
Wow.
So I realized that there's actually a huge need for that. Indiana does not have a state guardianship program. So unless you are a child, there is no becoming a ward of the state. And people don't understand that. And unfortunately, there are people that are just not great with their family members.
Trust me, I'm a lesbian. I know.
I've had, one of my clients actually was dropped off at a nursing home with a note on her saying, make her a ward of the state. I can't take it.
Wow.
And of course, obviously, they didn't understand there was no ward of the state. So they had to find some private practicing guardian, and they found me. But the majority of people I noticed can't afford like the regular guardianship services. They're ridiculously expensive. So I began a nonprofit in order to use a sliding scale so anybody can use our services whenever they need to. So like our Medicaid patients, the most we charge them is $35 a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we keep it very, very low. We try, I mean, sometimes to be fair, that doesn't get paid either.
Right.
But, I've always been an advocate. I've always tried to fight for the underdog. And, honestly, that's why I'm a Democrat, because Democrats they always have been the party of the people. We're not here for the big dollars and the big donors, the corporations. We've always been the ones fighting for the working class.
Wow. And so you started off as a mom of 3 special needs kids. Wow. Tell us that story.
Oh, goodness. Well, we're kind of a blended family. My husband and I were both married previously. So he had 2 children from a previous marriage. I had a child from a previous marriage. We got together. We adopted each other's children. So we are.
Yay.
Yeah. So my youngest is mine from my first marriage. He has autism. He's now 19 years old. He's still living with us. And then my 2 oldest are all 19 and 22. They have mental health issues. They have bipolar disorder, borderline tendencies, things like that. So that's where their special needs came in, a little different.
Wow. And even having those challenges, because I've also dated women who had children who were on the autism spectrum, and one was nonverbal, one was a little bit more verbal, but they both still required a lot of care. I know, I've seen firsthand how much that requires. And you do that because that's your kid, right? It's not even a thought, right? But to do that for other people, I mean, my gosh, when did you know you had the capacity within your like space, in your person, in your energy to take on more people?
Like I said, really the whole situation fell in my lap. It was really, I don't know.
You didn't even think about it.
No, I didn't. She asked me to do this one. I said, okay. And then a couple months later, someone else was like, hey, well, we've got this case. Would you be interested in this? And I was like, of course. And it just kind of kept building from there. And so strangely enough, the National Guardianship Association was having their national convention in Lexington, Kentucky that year.
Okay.
So I drove down there. I was like, I'm going to learn everything I possibly can about this. And that's when I met Erica Costello. She was an attorney for the Supreme Court in Indiana, I believe, that headed up a grant program to help startups in individual counties. And she's the one that convinced me that I could probably actually do this and start a nonprofit on my own.
I love it. And it sounds like you're a lifelong learner too. I mean, you started off as a bioengineer, and then you're like, I'm just going to go become a computer scientist. First of all, I'm an IT chick, but I am not a computer scientist. Like that's a whole, listen, people, I can fix things and make things work, but I can't create the thing. And now you said it.
I can only create the software. I'm not good with the hardware stuff.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I do know for sure is like usually hardware people are not good with software and software people are not good with hardware.
Yeah.
IT stuff. Yeah, don't worry about it, y'all. But and see, I'm a business IT person where my role is to bring the IT world together with the non-IT world. So like I want to reach out to the end user and find out what they need. And then I'll take it back to the developers and they will come up and then I just keep that conversation going. Or sometimes I do it between the IT person and the finance department because they need to get money for the project. And so I help. So anyway, so what was have you always just like Amanda said that she, you know, her parents were upset when they bought the encyclopedias. Were you always that ferocious in learning?
Well, with learning, yeah. I've always been ridiculous. My husband likes to say that my favorite hobby is to research.
I love it.
So I just do a lot of that all the time. As far as being civically engaged, not so much. Obviously, you know, with 3 special needs kids, my plate was a little full for a while.
I love it. So guys, this is both of you, this is your first election, right?
Yes.
First campaign. I think it's a great dynamic that, you know, Katie, you're running for commissioner and Amanda, you're running for counselor. They, in your counties, those 2 spaces work hand in hand. Amanda, talk about how you anticipate your role as a counselor at large working with the commissioner. And then Katie, talk about as a commissioner, how you plan on working with your counselors. Amanda, you go first.
Sure. So I know County Council at large, the council itself, we primarily focus on the budget. So we're looking at what does the county need to spend? What do we need to fund? I think what we're going to be doing is working with the commissioners to figure, okay, what are most important and how can we be fiscally responsible, but also getting our bang for our buck.
Right.
I don't want to be spending money on projects that are going to be wasteful, but I also want to be focusing on things that are going to help with the development of our community. For example, we have a shortage for mental health care in our community. How can we, as the county council, work with the commissioners to expand upon that? So is it more funding? Is it more resources and something else? How can we work together to build up a project or potentially recruitment, for example?
I love it. Katie?
Yeah, so kind of piggybacking off of what Amanda said. So commissioners, we deal with a lot of the zoning and planning and taking care of county contracts for projects. And then we go to the council and ask for the money to fund the projects. Clark County needs a lot of work. I don't know if any of your listeners are very aware of what's been going on down here, but we have a huge corruption scandal in Clark County right now with former Sheriff Jamie Knoll. And because of that, a lot of projects have been put on hold or just kicked down the road, or little Band-Aid fixes here and there with our infrastructure to basically help bankroll him while he stole all our taxpayer money.
Oh my gosh, what a jerk. Republican, please.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
He was the 9th District GOP chair and the county GOP chair. Yeah. Oh, if you don't know about this is like a movie. Like you all should be watching this big time. The man has been stealing from the taxpayers for years, funneling it through several different nonprofits and just layering techniques. He would use funds from the Utica Township Fire Department to purchase cars, or the Clark County Sheriff's Department to purchase cars, and then he would have them re-registered in his own name and then sell them so that he could keep the money. He was doing this all the time. And he was doing this with tons of different politicians. He was paying a lot of the politicians down here to do his bidding. And honestly, the commissioners that are in place now, and our county council are very responsible because they were supposed to be auditing him every 6 months. And in 8 years, not once have they done it.
Not once.
That's why I decided to get involved in this, because I'm like, oh no, this is ridiculous.
See, this is why county elections and local elections matter. Your tax dollars are supposed to be to improve the communities that you live in. But homeboy was improving his life. He was improving
millions.
That's
millions of dollars. They literally confiscated over 110 cars from his place.
110 cars.
Yes, that were bought with taxpayer money. There was also a helicopter involved. There's also a house in Florida. There are multiple properties here within Clark County.
And nobody questioned a thing?
Nothing. And this is the sheriff that started the A&E show 60 Days In.
Mm-hmm.
He's
running on integrity.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So Clark County is in need of some, I was just down there, did a training down for 9th District, and I had a chance to hang out with my buddy, Miguel Hampton. And he was, that is my brother, man. And he was giving me a little bit of the story, but like, I guess I'm always caught up in doing what I'm doing. I don't always know. Like, that's crazy. People in Clark County, 9th District, y'all need to like rally around. Yeah. And you have an amazing mayor, I do believe, in Clark.
Mayor Treva?
Yeah, Mayor Treva Hodges. Yes. She's the dopest.
She is, and she is actually my community chairperson.
I love her. She's amazing. Anyway.
Yes, I love her too. So
guys, as you think about what is happening in your counties, Amanda, you talked about the water crisis. Morgan, you talked about thieves. They talk about people just stealing. Let's look at what's going on in your counties, and let's talk about the areas that you see as a counselor or as a commissioner that you want to focus in on. And basically, what is the gist of why you're running for office? Amanda, you can go first.
Yeah, so one of my biggest platforms is community and public safety. I have a background in the criminal justice system, not just in education, where I got my undergrad and master's in criminal justice. I was a case manager here in Tippecanoe County for a little under 2.5 years. Before that, I was a pretrial officer in Allen County. I've been a CO to state prison. I volunteered as a CASA for on and off for about 4 years. So I do have a background in this. And I know working at the county level, how impactful these decisions are, both with the commissioner, but especially with the county council and the fiscal decisions that they make. That could impact programs, that can affect resources, that can affect livability. As a county employee, you're hoping that you're going to get like a nice raise every now and then, because that's cost of living. But I also know when I was working as a case manager at community corrections, I saw the need for certain programs I'd love to help expand. I mentioned mental health and also healthcare. We're going to be fighting that, especially in Indiana. Tippecanoe is not as bad as other areas, but we do have reproductive healthcare deserts. It's trying to make sure that we have the healthcare, quality healthcare that we need. The mental health support, be it we, send people to NAMI or Mental Health America, other resources, especially with the wait lists that are happening. Just education. I know no one in my county is happy about the property tax increase that's happening because of the state decision when it comes to apartment units. Everyone that owns their own home or their building, they're going to be impacted because property taxes for apartment units, I believe it's 5 units or more, those are going to be decreased.
Huh?
Everybody's going to get hit. Now, they can only go up so much. I believe it's 1% a year.
Right, because there's a cap,
I'm giving I'm giving the very rough explanation I have. But that's going to impact, since we're losing money, especially in an area like Tippecanoe County with all the apartment units, with Purdue. How's that going to impact us with the money that we need to keep these programs going? How much are we going to lose? I know our property tax assessor is asking people to call in the state house. We need tax reform. We need something better. Not saying that, obviously, this isn't the answer. We've needed tax reform for a while. That's at a state level. But the local level, it's really getting that engagement and going, this was not a decision that the county made, that the cities made. This was higher, but we're encouraging Hoosiers across the state, especially in Tippecanoe County, to start reaching out.
That's
because
crazy.
We don't know how we don't know how it's going to impact us. Well, is it going to be we don't hire a teacher, or we have to close the school? Who knows?
Exactly. And here's the thing: these are corporations. that are owning a lot of these apartment complexes. It ain't Joe. This is not a small business to own an apartment complex. So they're literally, again, Republicans are giving tax breaks to the wealthiest among us and then leaving us with the crumbs to figure out how to do with more with less.
Yeah.
You know, Democrats, y'all ought to just like be ready to just. What else you got going on in Tippecanoe County?
Well, I mean, so many things. I mean, we talked about the LEAP project. That is something that has just unified people across the whole political spectrum, including non-political. But it's even being just, how can we go greener? What green initiatives could we do? I had a constituent toss an idea, instead of mowing our ditches, why can't we plant native plants? Other areas have done it. It's been impactful for the environment, but at a more minimal cost. So it's like, how can we find different ideas? And I'm definitely willing to listen to constituents and go, hey, I've heard that idea. I don't know how much it's going to impact us, but it's definitely worth talking about and at least thinking about.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point of being a servant. I mean, people forget when you're an elected official, you're serving your community.
Yep.
So, Katie, what you got going on down in Clark County besides the Grand Theft Auto down here?
Right. Well, like I said, there's a lot to deal with. So, I mean, I've got a huge list. Obviously, I probably won't be able to get to all of it, but my top priorities would be, first off, our current EMS situation. So, tie back into former sheriff, he actually started the New Chapel EMS down here and basically became the monopoly. So he got the commissioners to sign off to where they had the full contract for the county. Well, now they've never really lived up to the response times that they negotiated and have in their contract. But now I'm hearing horror stories. I mean, so many different people. I had one man, a volunteer firefighter, tell me that he had to perform CPR for over 45 minutes on a 33-year-old man before the ambulance bothered to show up. And the man did not survive. He should have. He was viable. But I mean, this is literally becoming an issue of life and death. Because when you live out in the county, you can't wait 20, 30, 60 minutes for the ambulance to show up. Grandma and grandpa don't have that kind of time if they're having a stroke or a heart attack. I mean, but it's not just out in the county. It's everywhere. Actually, this last election cycle, just last year, we had one of the Republican candidates collapsed with a heart attack in Clarksville, in the town of Clarksville. And it took almost 20 minutes for the ambulance service to get here, and he didn't make it either.
Oh, my gosh.
So our current commissioners have been questioned about this because our neighboring county, Floyd County, also has been using New Chapel, and they are working to try to get out of that contract and get someone new in. Well, our county commissioners are saying, well, we don't think it's a problem. We haven't heard enough complaints yet.
I'm sorry. Well, dead bodies ain't enough for you?
Well, apparently, yeah. I think that's their angle is, dead bodies can't complain. So they're not hearing complaints.
Oh,
which I know is obviously not true. I mean, there are several wrongful death suits going on against the county and against New Chapel EMS. So there's plenty of complaints. They just don't want to move on it.
So you guys, you would like to help establish a county-wide EMS system?
I would like to set up some kind of a county-wide EMS system, and we can use a private entity for more of the convalescent and transfers, so that way they're not needed on an emergency basis. We can use a lot of our fire stations as hubs for a county-wide EMS instead of just relying on private entities only.
And do the local hospitals have any EMS services? I don't know how those systems work, so I'm not okay.
No, they all use the private EMS, which is through New Chapel.
And do y'all know when we went to private EMS? I mean, I remember like there was always like a firehouse.
It's been decades down here.
Man, that's crazy. What else you got going on in Clark County?
Oh, the other thing is probably the landfill. The landfill is ridiculous. We've needed to make certain federal mandated upgrades to it for years and years and years. And our commissioners have just continually given it little Band-Aid fixes, maybe We were supposed to expand the slurry wall, and they've been doing it like a foot a year. They've not been doing nearly as much to it as they need to. They've actually shrunk some of the culverts, so now there's an issue with flooding in the landfill.
Oh,
And
that's not good.
oh no, not at all. I mean, it's terrible for the environment. The people that live out there, which I know personally, because I lived across from the landfill for 7 years. I mean, there are days you can't even walk out your door because it smells so terrible.
Oh my
So it's
God.
not being properly managed. It's terrible for the environment. It's on a floodplain. But worse still is the fact that now it's almost full. And because these federally mandated upgrades have not been made, so we cannot do a vertical expansion, which means we're going to have to be shut down, pay federal fines for not doing our job, and then ship our garbage over to Louisville. I can't even imagine how much that's going to cost our taxpayers.
Oh my gosh. And let me ask you, are citizens even aware? I know, like Amanda, you talked about they never talked to you guys about the stealing of the water, but do the citizens down in Clark County, are they aware of these problems? I mean, these are the issues you're talking about are not little issues.
No,
You're talking
not at
about
all.
people dying, not getting to the hospital, and a landfill that is funking up the whole community. Are
Yep.
people talking about these things? Are they outraged about them?
Not as much as I think they should be.
Okay.
Everybody seems to know about the EMS situation, but nobody really knows what to do because they have gone to complain to their elected officials and have gotten nowhere.
Okay.
When it comes to the landfill, most people don't know anything about it till I bring it up.
Interesting. Interesting.
The few people that know anything about it, though, are the people that live near there, and they're aware of the environmental impact. They're not even aware of, what's about to hit their wallet.
So yeah, because if you guys have to ship that garbage over, then you guys got to hike the taxes to cover the expense of it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, okay. So apparently, I need to get down to Clark County and rile some people up because
Let's do it.
y'all got a mess down there.
Yes.
We've all talked about tonight about how sometimes state house bills impact us, but we also know that the state house is supermajority Republican. When you win your election, see how I'm claiming it? I'm claiming it. When you win your elections, you have to be able to work across the aisle. Now, hopefully, Katie, you ain't got to keep working with criminals and dum-dums and lackeys like you've been working with. Because, I mean, it sounds like they're a bunch of punks. But I'm starting to see, like, a lot of Republicans are punks because they letting a 77-year-old orange dude kind of punk them around. Like, they doing a song. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just Clark County. It's like all of them. All of them are innies instead of outies, and I ain't figured that out yet. But talk about how you plan to build coalition and work across the aisle, because you may have to work with a Republican. You may have to lobby somebody at the state house. You may have to, work with somebody else in another county. Amanda, talk about your communication style and how you plan on working across the aisle.
So when it comes to just communicating, I'm pretty upfront and honest. I will try and work with someone if they come in good faith, I will work with them in good faith. I don't see any benefit to lying to each other if we're trying to solve an issue together. It's like, why try and pull one over? That's how I've also been with the constituents that I talk to. I'm going to be as honest as I can, make the best decisions based on the information I have available, and go from there. You are going to have people that you're not going to be able to get along with, and or you don't care for, but you have to get along with them. So it's how can we work together? What kind of common ground? I actually just had a conversation on election day with a Republican. We actually found a lot of common ground together. We weren't that far apart. So it's okay. Where can we meet at and how can we fix it? And then just kind of going for there. And sometimes you have to be like, okay, maybe I won't push this topic to get this, but it's never going to be anything that is going to be completely detrimental to my community. When I mean that, I mean like, okay, maybe we only give like 5,000 to this organization instead of 7. It's never going to be anything within. I want to make that perfectly clear. If it's something to benefit my community, let's go for it. But if it's going to harm my community, I'm going to do everything within my power to fight against it.
I love it. Katie?
Yeah, well, I like to pride myself on thinking I can work with just about anybody. I might be wrong on that. That might just be my ego talking.
Come on, ego.
But I actually do have a lot of Republican friends too. And as Amanda was saying, we're not that far apart on a lot of issues, especially here locally. It's very easy to be able to find common ground and a compromise. it's a matter of listening to what the other person has to say instead of just digging your heels in and saying, no, this is the way it is. You usually, if you can listen to the other side, you can figure out a way to get a compromise and get something pushed through.
So,
I also said that I'm a bit of a fighter when it comes to advocacy, so I don't back down on that either.
I can't wait to see that in action. Like I'm excited about that. I want to I heard you say what it is to be a guardian. I want to see you be a guardian. Like I want you to be a guardian of the galaxy kind of type thing. I want to see it happen. So talk about, I mean, you guys are professional. You've been out here doing your thing for a long while. Talk about some successes that you didn't think that you would have, but that you did have. Amanda, give us an example of something that you worked for and you didn't think it was going to come through and it did.
I mean, this campaign for one.
I love it. Start with the obvious.
I mean, I threw my hat in the ring, and I cannot express how grateful and thankful I am for the support that I've received. But it's really, honestly, I think most milestones in my life, going to college, everything, jobs I've gone after, just things in my life, I have always had to work for what I wanted. It was never just handed to me. And I have had some things that have blown up in my face spectacularly.
Baby.
But I've learned from that. And I think that's the thing I'm most proud of. And I think my highest accomplishment is going, okay, it blew up in our face. How can we go and rebuild from this? What can we take away? And how can we keep moving forward? That's always been my motto. Let's take that moment, grieve what you need to grieve, and then let's keep pushing forward and do it better. I know I helped Mad Voters with trying to get the sales tax on menstrual products repealed in the last legislative session. Being down there and having them listen to the legislation, that was probably one of the proudest moments I've ever had, because it took 10 years for them to read that.
Right.
Of course, they put it in, then ripped it out 2 days before the session ended because people weren't calling and knocking down the doors. But it's that, okay, we had something fail. How can we come back and do it better? And I think that is, for me, my biggest accomplishment. Thing I'm most proud of is just that resiliency.
I love it. Katie?
Well, I'm kind of like Amanda. I've got a lot I feel like I've accomplished. I mean, I successfully raised my 3 kids, which was a bit of a struggle, especially with my husband's deployments and such. I don't know, having so many different careers. I'm like a Jill of all trades.
Love it.
I guess like within my guardianship career, one of my biggest accomplishments was one of my, I don't know, I guess when I very first started the nonprofit side, one of my first clients, he was a middle-aged man with schizophrenia that was also homeless and self-medicating with methamphetamines. So not a great combination. He's been my client now for 3 years. I was able to get him off the street into a group home. Well, actually initially into a hospital for treatment. We did treatment there, then got him into a group home. And he actually has just graduated into the housing authority and now has his own apartment and is doing pretty well. So I like that one. That's a good accomplishment for me.
That is an amazing accomplishment because, again, we're talking about humans. Politics is about humans because the politics are all about who is writing policies that impact lives. And the idea that a lot of folks don't actually understand that. And there's a certain level of a commitment to community that I'm hearing from the both of you. And I think it's also a unique perspective as women. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had a lot of men on the show. In fact, I think my last 4 guests were men, maybe 6. But there's something different when I talk to women about politics. It's less about the technicality of it and more about the emotional connection to it. So like you talked about, women's feminine products, that was that's a thing that's near and dear to all of us, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Right. And the passion that it takes to go downtown, like you live in Tippecanoe County, you got to drive an hour and a half to get all the way down to Indianapolis to stand up and have that conversation, or to advocate for someone whose mental health is so, in disarray that, and the meth ain't, oh, Jesus, all of that, not to mention whatever physical ailments he now has because of the drug abuse.
Yep.
There's something unique about women in politics. What does it mean for you? You know, and I know we definitely want to normalize what it is to be women in politics, but right now we're only 20% of our elected officials, so we're still an anomaly. What does it mean to you to be a woman running for your seat? Katie, I'm gonna start with you.
I kind of feel like I want to be a protector. I just want to help people. I want to make things better for people. And just kind of continue with my advocacy work, because that's just who I am. I give back to the community every chance I can. And yeah, in politics, it's the same way. Like you said, we're dealing with people's lives, and that's my entire job, is being a guardian. Every decision I'm making is going to affect that person's life in some way, shape, or form. So in the political arena, I'm going to think of it the same way. Well, how is this going to affect my constituents? Because at the end of the day, I am a servant leader. I'm not there because I feel like I'm above anybody else, and my decision makes all the difference in the world.
I love it. Amanda?
I mean, I'm agreeing with Katie, definitely a guardian. I think women in politics, though, we're fighters. And or I think a better term might be generals.
Okay, generals.
Because and what I mean with that is we're definitely on boots on the ground. We are fighting so many things. But I think women particularly, we can see a broader picture. You know, kind of going with Katie, and I can bring it to my own experience. You know, when I talk about public safety, community safety, I've had people think, well, you just mean giving law enforcement bigger and better tools. And I go, no, community safety is having mental health resources. It is having peer recovery. It's having health resources. It's having environmental protection. We have to look at housing. We have to look at jobs, transportation. So many of these things are so interconnected. And I think women can see that. We can see that battlefield a little more clear and see how everything kind of connects together. And then we can kind of triage on, or at least plan on, how we can address these to be more efficient and effective.
I love it.
That's how I see it.
Real quick, can I just chime in on your general comment? Is there any way I call myself Captain Morgan then?
Hey,
Go
come on
for
with
it.
it. Come on with it.
Just
Captain Morgan.
That's it. That's Captain Katie Morgan. Let's do it. Toast up. So, by the way, that was also a leading question.
Real quick, hold on. Can I be Brigadier Eldridge then?
You can be.
I like it.
I like that too.
Yes.
There y'all go. I'm just gonna be Black. Just call me Black. That's it. I don't want no titles. I don't want to lead, because I might lead people off a cliff. I don't know. My mouth get me in trouble too much. So that was a leading question. So have y'all applied for Who's Moving Forward in the past?
I have not. I was just made aware of it actually last year. And I was unfortunately just past the deadline, so I couldn't apply yet. So I do want to take part of that.
Yeah, this year might not be a good year because you're running for office, but
right.
Amanda, have you applied for Who's Moving Forward?
I haven't. I did know about it last year, but at the time with the new job starting, this might not be the best time because I didn't know commitment-wise yet how it was going to work out. But I'm thinking about it.
They usually opens up May 1st. I know you guys saw the ad before I started. Well, you may not have seen it, but the ad before I started the show, I was letting you guys know that Who's Moving Forward the application period is now open, and you have until June 18th to fill out your application, get your references in, because ladies, we are creating that army, and we have those generals and those captains in place in all 9 districts where we are leaders running for office, party leadership, all kinds of things. And it's a network that we're building to empower women. Again, it's not about attacking any type of man. Okay, I want to be clear about that. This is not, Who's Moving Forward is not about attacking men, but it's empowering women. And if you a dude and you feeling like you being attacked by Who's Moving Forward, anywho, Democratic Women of Indiana, Who's Your Women Forward Class 7 application period opens May 7th, 2024.
Who's Your Women Forward is changing the future of Indiana. In a state where half the population is women, only 27% of our elected state house officials are women. That's why we're empowering women to take the lead, run, and win.
This program not only equips women with the skills to be leaders in our communities, it builds a strong network and sisterhood who continue to inspire one another to grow and lead in boardrooms, corner offices, and elected positions across the state.
Indiana Hoosier Women Forward program is one of the best programs I've ever been a part of. It's really important for the next generation of female leaders to apply to Hoosier Women Forward. The amount of experience and expertise that we've been able to have access to has been life-changing.
I am so proud to be a member of Hoosier Women Forward's 6th class of leaders who are changing the political landscape of our state.
What this organization means to me is that I have a lifetime network of hardworking, determined, fierce women in Hoosier Democratic politics that will always have my back.
Being a part of Hoosier Women Forward has been amazing for the last several years. As a former candidate for the Indiana State House, the policy knowledge, the personal connections, and really just the sisterhood of women in Democratic politics has meant so much to me.
I really have enjoyed the Hoosier Women Forward program for a lot of different reasons, but the biggest reason for me was really that personal woman empowerment.
Something that I've really liked about being a part of this class and being a part of the Hoosier Women Forward network and group is that, one, I get to be surrounded by passionate women who are committed to making our state a better state for everyone.
I would encourage any woman, any Hoosier woman, to apply for Hoosier Women Forward because you're going to be inspired and you're going to have a group of sisters to always encourage you and help you along the way.
To apply, visit our website, www.HoosierWomenForward.org/apply. Application period closes June 18th, 2024. Guys, I do appreciate y'all taking the time to come and chat with us here on Turn Left. Katie, tell the people where they can find you.
Okay, my website is numeral 4, katie4commissioner.com. My email is also katie4commissioner@gmail.com. And my phone number is 502-276-5292. I love to talk to constituents and find out what their ideas are. I'm very open to meeting people for coffee or for lunch sometimes just to talk about their ideas and what problems they see in the community that they'd like to see addressed.
I love it. Amanda, where can the people find you?
You can actually find me at electeldridge.com, and you can email me at candidateeldridge@gmail.com. I'm, like Katie said, I'm open to talking to anybody and everybody in my community about issues, about things that they are concerned about. And if you can't get a hold of me, you can usually find me at the local bookstores.
And do either of you have any events coming up? I know it's post-primary and a lot of people need some downtime, but do you have any events coming up that people need to know about, or door knocking opportunities or anything like that? Either one of you. I'm going out of town this weekend to just relax since the primary is now over with. And then when I come back, I'm going to start strategizing on where I'm going to do some things, because I definitely want to have some town hall meetings and just different events so I can get out and meet more people in the community. I love it. What about you, Amanda? Any events coming up?
Not for me. They're local events that I'm trying to attend. So if you see me, definitely feel free to talk to me. If you reach out to my campaign, once we start getting things out, I always post it. And I always encourage people to come out and join. I was trained as a canvasser, which really kind of got me into learning about the local issues. So if you have ever thought about it, come out. I will show you the ropes and teach you how to canvas.
I love that. Being a servant, teaching people how to do the thing. Oh, man, that was the best line all night. Sorry, best line all night. Amanda said, I will teach you. I'm not going to just ask you to come and help. I'm going to show you how to do it. Y'all, these are the type of candidates I'm talking about. These are the type of candidates I'm talking about. Listen, consider donating to them. Click on the link. Click on the Turn Left link. Donate to these candidates, $5, $10. In fact, now would be a really good time if you don't want to do it this way and you want to go to their Act Blue page and donate to them individually. Now would be a time to become a $10 a month donor, right? You can you may want to give them $500, but you like, I really ain't got $500 right now. But you can give them $10, $20, $25 a month, and that money will add up for these candidates so they can get the yard signs, so they can print the materials, they can do whatever they need to do, right? Or buy water to help people drink water while they're canvassing in the summer sun.
Yes.
All the little things. And guys, I'm about to beg a little bit. I know that the election is over, and like I said, turnout was abysmal. I don't know what else I gotta. Give me ideas, and I will implement them. Right?
So I actually have something for you, Dana.
All right,
and
give it
I
to
did
me.
this with about every door I knocked on. I would talk to people, introduce myself, give them my spiel, and say, you know what? Whether you support me or not, can you give me one small promise? And the promise I asked them, it was a challenge, is when they go vote, can they take 5 people with them?
Love it. Do it.
That's nice. I like that.
You can take it. Anyone can take it. I gotta get this turnout up.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't understand the apathy. I don't understand why they don't understand. I don't understand why people don't think that the fact that we could be losing our democracy is not an important reason to vote. And it's not just at the federal level, right? It's literally Mike Braun. It's literally these clown cases in our state house, like nutbags. Literally.
Katie, your area, you were talking about they've tried to complain about EMS.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think the apathy around here is when they have said anything to the elected officials, they've been ignored. And they have the impression that that's how it always is. I'm trying to let them know there's an alternative. Vote them out and vote for the person that's actually going to listen to you.
Yeah, and I'll be different. And then allow them to hold you to it.
Right.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining. Don't hang up just yet. Guys, listen, I am so excited about what the summer now looks like. Okay, so we switch over from the primary races and the primary candidates. Now we turn our focus over to how do we win the general elections. Again, this is the time for you as candidates to brush up on all the issues. If you're running for the state house, find out all the bills that were garbage bills that people passed that are harmful to our communities, and you talk about those when you knock on the door. If you are running for a county council seat or a county commissioner seat, make sure you understand what's going on in the county and how whatever ordinances that have been written previously are harmful to your community, or the good ones that the people that you like wrote, right? Emphasize the good and the bad and how they impact their lives. Talk about these things at a policy level to get people engaged. If you're running for one of those like county seats, like a coroner or treasurer or auditor or something like that, please make people understand you know what the role is and the job is. Be sure that you understand that you are interviewing for a job, right? And I want you guys to start this right now. Take a couple of days off, right? But then say at the beginning of June, right? Have your plan mapped out on not just the doors that you're going to knock on, but what is the message that you're going to bring to them? What are you going to explain to them, and how you're going to explain what the policies and the ideas you're having will be better for their lives. Okay? Because right now, we're going backwards in time. Like my guest said tonight, we are going backwards in time. So I need everybody to take it upon themselves, especially you candidates. And oh, by the way, some of y'all candidates that were fighting each other, I need y'all to cut that out, make it up. But I mean, iron sharpens iron. There's nothing wrong with primary races. Jesus. But some of y'all were clowning, and y'all know who y'all were. But that being said, we're going to have more shows all year. I only have a couple of weeks I'm taking off for vacation time, but not next week. I got guests next week, and I've got shows booked up through the end of June. And so this will give you an opportunity to hear from the candidates who will be on your general election ballot in November. So be sure to tune in every Thursday and follow us on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get you listen to podcasts. Indiana's own Dana Black and Turn Up. We are bringing you the people that matter in this most critical 2024 election cycle. All right, you guys have a fantastic night. I'll holler at y'all next time. Peace. Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.